Would you please read his name?
William David Chambers.
And when was he born?
16th of July, 1847, 1850, likely in Cecil County, Maryland.
And you've never heard of him? And you've never heard of any of those ancestors all the way up?
No.
What's it like to see that?
It makes me miss my mother.
Valerie Bertinelli's family story is one of unexpected turns, a blend of heartbreak, history, and humanity. When the beloved actress and television host sat down with Henry Louis Gates Jr. on PBS's Finding Your Roots, she expected a journey through time, but not one that would reveal both royal bloodlines and dark family secrets. What she discovered instead was a tapestry woven with triumph, tragedy, and mystery, from hidden marriages to shocking crimes, that reshaped her understanding of who she is and where she comes from. Tracing a line to royalty. Before the revelations about murder and family secrets, Valerie Bertinelli's ancestry journey began with something entirely unexpected, a brush with European royalty. The Finding Your Roots team uncovered that one branch of her family stretches all the way back to British nobility. Through a series of well-documented genealogical links, Bertinelli is distantly related to King Edward I of England, the 13th century monarch known for his ambition and military campaigns. It was a startling discovery for the actress, who described herself as, quote, a regular girl from Delaware with no inkling of blue blood in her veins. I was gobsmacked, she said with a laugh on the PBS program. I mean, I'm a descendant of royalty? That's just wild. For Bertinelli, this wasn't about status or grandeur. It was about perspective. The idea that her family's roots stretched across oceans and centuries deepened her sense of connection to the broader sweep of history. And yet, as she soon learned, not every branch of her family tree carried such noble associations. Some, in fact, bore far heavier burdens. You think you know where you come from, and then you learn there's a whole world of stories behind you, some beautiful, some heartbreaking. A hidden life and a family divided. The tone of Bertinelli's journey shifted dramatically when Gates revealed a secret that had been buried for decades. Her paternal grandfather, who had long been remembered as a solid, hard-working man, had led a double life. Records showed he had a second family, a wife and children Bertinelli's relatives had never known about. The revelation stunned her. My father never knew he had half-siblings, she said, on Finding Your Roots. It's heartbreaking, but it also makes me realize how much people used to hide, how pain could turn into silence. As the research unfolded, census documents and marriage certificates painted a picture of a man torn between two worlds. He had served in the U.S. military, lived through the Great Depression, and carried the weight of expectations that often drove people to desperate choices. For Valerie, this secret wasn't just a scandalous tidbit, it was a reminder of the humanity behind family history, that even the ones we revere have flaws and fears of their own. It breaks your heart and opens it at the same time, Bertinelli told People magazine. You start to see your ancestors as real people, not just names in a family tree. Bloodlines and Burdens. The surprises didn't stop there. Delving deeper into her maternal ancestry, Bertinelli learned her lineage included not only nobility, but also violence. According to genealogical findings discussed on Who Do You Think You Are, one of her ancestors in England had been convicted of murder centuries ago. It was a revelation that sent chills through her and reminded her that history, while fascinating, is rarely tidy. This ancestor, a man whose name is largely lost to time, was accused of killing another villager during a quarrel. In those times, such an act carried grave consequences, but records suggest he avoided execution by joining military service, a grim but common reprieve in the 17th and 18th centuries. For Bertinelli, the discovery of both royalty and a murderer in her heritage brought a sense of humility. It underscored that lineage isn't a straight line of triumphs. It's a collage of contradictions, courage, weakness, ambition, and regret. It's both unsettling and strangely comforting, she reflected in a later interview, because it means that all of us, no matter where we come from, are a mix of light and shadow. Reconciling the Past. For Valerie Bertinelli, the revelations from her family history weren't simply fodder for curiosity, they became catalysts for reflection. As she processed the discoveries of both nobility and tragedy, she found herself grappling with what it meant to carry those stories forward. The idea that her ancestors had lived through moments of both triumph and failure gave her a new understanding of resilience. She spoke candidly about how uncovering her grandfather's secret family reshaped her perception of him. Rather than anger or disappointment, she felt empathy. Life in earlier generations, she said, was filled with pressures that often forced people to make choices in silence. Understanding that helped her see her family's history not as something to judge, but as something to understand. That compassion extended to her father, who passed away without ever learning about his half-siblings. For Bertinelli, the realization was bittersweet, a reminder the past can hide truths we may never have the chance to confront, yet still teach us about grace. Lessons in forgiveness. The discoveries also stirred something deeply personal for Bertinelli, a renewed perspective on forgiveness. She has spoken openly in recent years about the power of releasing anger and embracing healing, both in her personal life and in how she views her family's complicated past. Her ancestors' stories mirrored her own struggles with letting go of pain. As she pieced together the threads of betrayal and survival, she began to see a through line, the enduring human capacity to endure, adapt, and forgive. "I think when you uncover something painful in your family," she once said, "it's an invitation to find empathy instead of shame." From ancestry to identity. Bertinelli's experience on finding your roots and who do you think you are went beyond the revelations themselves. It became a meditation on identity. For a woman who spent decades in the public eye, from her early acting days on One Day at a Time to her later success as a Food Network host, the journey back through her ancestry offered something grounding. She spoke of how it gave her a sense of belonging to something larger, a reminder that every life is part of a continuum stretching far beyond one's own years. The royal connections, the hidden families, even the dark chapters of violence, all of it became a mirror reflecting the complexities of being human. What she took away was not the thrill of celebrity lineage or scandalous intrigue, but a newfound humility. Her family's story, she realized, echoed what so many others experience in their own genealogical searches, the discovery that love, loss, and redemption live side by side in every generation. Carrying the stories forward. In the weeks after the episode aired, Valerie Bertinelli reflected on how she might pass these stories down to future generations. Her son, musician Wolfgang Van Halen, had grown up surrounded by fame and creativity, but not necessarily the long threads of family history. Now she felt compelled to share more, not to burden him with the past, but to remind him identity is built from both choice and inheritance. She described how in her own childhood, family stories were often fragments, a few details here and there, rarely the full picture. Discovering the depth of her ancestry made her realize how much those fragments matter. Each document, each name unearthed from an old census or parish record, represented a life lived in full, with dreams, regrets, and love that somehow led to her own existence. Healing through understanding. The emotional journey of uncovering her family's secrets dovetailed with another deeply personal theme in Bertinelli's life, healing. In recent years, she's spoken openly about grief, body image, and self-acceptance, and she sees the process of exploring her ancestry as part of that same emotional work. When she learned her grandfather had kept a second family hidden, she didn't recoil in judgment. Instead, she began to ask questions about why people hide pain and how the pain echoes through generations. "The more I learned," she said, "the more I realized that we all carry our ancestors' stories, even when we don't know them." Understanding her family's struggles helped her find compassion, not only for them, but for herself. The act of looking backward, paradoxically, became a way to move forward. By accepting the complexity of her lineage, the good, the bad, and the heartbreaking, she found the freedom to release her own fears of imperfection. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you ever discovered something surprising or unexpected in your own family history? Let us know in the comments section below.